6 behaviors that you can implement today to increase your confidence as a leader. How do I know this? Because these are the exact same tips that I use to increase my confidence as a leader. I was not always the confident leader, and I have learned that these tips have really helped me grow my confidence. And there are still some of these tips that I use on a daily basis. I'm Emily, and I am so grateful to be here with all of you. Hit the subscribe button. I'm here to bring you all things leadership, business, spirituality, and anything else that drops in. You already know we just go with the flow over here. So with this, I want to encourage you to really listen to this from a different perspective. From a perspective of, oh, this isn't just another video, but I want you to be able to take action. So when something resonates with you, write it down and write the action you are going to take to embody this on a daily basis, to grow your confidence as a leader. And to really implement these tips, you get to practice this on a daily basis. It's not just a one and done. It's not just this Amazon Prime thing, right? So tip number 1 is knowing your value and your expertise. This doesn't mean that you have to have all these certifications, that you have to have all these degrees to actually have value as a leader. Think about your life experiences. Think about what you've gone through, what you have led through, the experiences that you bring, the perspective that you bring. That is all value. And you get to be able to see this first. So we all know in order for people to see us the way we want to see ourselves, we get to see ourselves that way first. People will see what you see about yourself. I'm going to repeat that again. People will see what you see about yourself. So when you start seeing your value and your expertise and you start owning that, people will also start to see that. And I'll give you an example. Say you see yourself only charging $100 an hour, right? Everyone else is going to see the same thing. You start deciding, okay, my prices are going to go up. I'm going to charge $300 an hour. And now people are going to start seeing something different. And they're going to start paying you $300. But you are the one that sets that bar of the value and expertise that you have. And if you don't see it, no one else is going to see it. So there's tip 1. So for the action item, ask yourself, what value am I not seeing? And how can I see my value more today? And write it down and continue to see it. Leadership is one of these beautiful things where it's constantly evolution and constantly growth, and it's not just a one and done. It's a journey, right? So as we continue to go on this journey, there's just layers on it. Tip number two is boundaries. So how does this help you increase your confidence as a leader? Is by having strong boundaries, you get to say no to things that do not align with you. You get to say yes to the things that do align with you. And when you have strong boundaries as a leader, this also means when your boss comes to you, if you work, you have a boss and they ask you to do a project, you get to also have the boundary of, okay, you want me to take on this project, but now let's talk about my workload, because these are boundaries that I have, because I don't want to work all this overtime and be handed projects that are going to cause me to work more overtime, right? That's a boundary. Also, boundaries with yourself, boundaries with your family. And as you set those boundaries, you're also setting the tone of how people are going to treat you, how people are going to respect you. And you start to respect yourself more because you have those boundaries in place. And that increases your confidence. So what boundaries do you get to set today as a leader to help you increase your confidence? What is in your environment? What do you need to say no to? And letting those things go. The next tip I have is detaching from people pleasing. This is a learned behavior. People pleasing will never get you anywhere. And trust me, this is probably one of the biggest ones that I have worked through is with people pleasing, is feeling like guilt and shame for not saying yes. Again, kind of going back to the boundary piece. But when you come back from looking at people pleasing, it does not serve you. It does not serve your team. And so detaching and letting go of that and having the awareness when you are in that stage of people pleasing, Because when you detach from people pleasing and you no longer let it be a part of your life, your confidence will increase because of that. Because you're not trying to please everyone else. You're not seeking external validation. Instead, you're looking inside of yourself and being like, no, this is what feels good for me. This is what I'm going to do. This is what is in alignment for me. And I'm not going to sit here and do the people pleasing. And when you detach from this, you start to grow more confidence because you build more inner trust in yourself. The next one is push out of your comfort zone. Why do you need to do this to have more confidence as a leader? If you stay in the comfort zone, you will always be comfortable. There is no growth there. There is no growth in the comfort zone. And yes, it might be nice and comfortable, but you get to push yourself out of the comfort zone. So what does this look like? What are some things that you really want to go after? You really want to achieve? You really want to accomplish? Whatever those are, put them down, make a plan, and start taking action towards it. To push yourself out of the comfort zone, I always tell the clients that I work with, once a week, minimum, push yourself out of the comfort zone. Because what that does, that builds like this confidence, like, oh yeah, I can do this. It does not have to be like this perfect thing. It can be messy, it can be beautiful, all the things. Just push yourself out of the comfort zone because you don't want to stay there. And it will not help you build your confidence by staying in the comfort zone. So figure out one thing that you can do to push yourself out of the comfort zone and implement it. Do it. Take the action. Literally take the action. It's simple, but not always easy. The next one is taking decisive action. What do I mean by taking decisive action? Well, decisive action is really like, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to go. And the action behind this, when we are looking to build our confidence as a leader and we kind of go back and forth with the decision of like, I think, or maybe, or I'm not sure, this comes across to our teams as like, we're really not confident in what we're doing. And that can sometimes be a red flag, a huge red flag for the team, because now they're kind of discrediting you as the leader. So when you are making decisions and when you are taking actions, do it in a decisive manner. Are you going to mess up? Yes. Are you going to make the wrong decisions? Yes. Every single leader is going to do this. But this is how you grow and you learn. If you never messed up, you would never learn. So make the decision, take the decisive action, and continue on with it. Don't get caught up in this overthinking, because that just takes a hit to your confidence, because then you feel like, well, I'm not sure, like all these things, like your mind is running 100 miles an hour. Don't do that, because that will not help your confidence. So if you find yourself in that overthinking mode, stop, get grounded in, and ask yourself, what is one action I can take right now? Regardless of how messy it looks. Again, we are not here for perfection. And if we really wanted to dig deep on perfection, what is perfection? It's different for everyone, right? So we can just let that go and take the action. It's that simple. The last tip that I have is embodying the energy of a leader. And I talk a lot about embodiment. I talk a lot about practicing. And the reason why I talk about this is without the embodiment piece and without practicing, you're just intaking content. So take, for example, you read a book and you don't take no action after reading that book. It was just content. It was just knowledge that you gained and you're not using it. The same way with embodying the energy of a confident leader. So how do you, as a leader, show up and are confident? What does that look like for you? Get really curious and write down, what are the characteristics that a confident leader has? And then you know how to start embodying those characteristics. How do they show up? How do they act? What are they doing on a daily basis? You can break this down all the way down to the daily routines you have set for yourself. What do they read? What do they invest in? Where is their time spent at? How do they act? What are they doing differently? And once you see what the confident leader has versus what you have, you can see your gaps. And then you're like, okay, So the confident leader does these things. I'm going to pull from this list and I'm going to start practicing that. I'm going to start embodying those things as a leader. So that way I can shift and change my behaviors. Because as long as we don't shift and change behaviors and embody the energy of a confident leader, we're going to stay the same, right? So I just give you all those tips. And I want to just kind of recap and read these down the list for you. And I would love to hear in the comments, like, which one are you going to implement? How are you going to implement it? Do you have questions around embodiment? Any questions you have on leadership, leave them in the comments below. So own your value and your expertise, set boundaries, take decisive action. Let me see if I can remember all of them. Embody the energy of a leadership, push out of your comfort zone, and detach from people pleasing. So again, let me know what you got out of this video. Let me know what kind of content you are looking for as a leader, and go and embody some confident leadership, because we all need confident leaders out in the world. We need you. We need you to be confident. We need you to step up. I hope this was so incredibly helpful for you, and I can't wait to hear your breakthroughs.